Hey fellow Rangers, it's me, Mario. Today I'm ready to talk about another very strong building, and that is 3A. 3A is again dirty cheap. Just for one builder you get a decent action and an extra step. Today's video is going to be longer than the other day's videos, probably because I'm going to introduce you guys to the concept of extra step buildings, which are along with tall buildings, like buildings with a hand, the strongest group of buildings in the game. So getting extra step is incredibly strong. So we are going to talk about extra steps first, and then a bit more about 3A itself. So why are extra steps that good? Well, the first thing that's easy to see is that they are going to basically improve the next action you're going to take. So if you place 3A over here, just before the cow market, you're basically saying that at the cow market, you're going to be able to visit the cow market, discard a black cow for 2 coins, and discard 2 other matching cows for 3 coins. So it's basically improving the action already. But it doesn't stop there. Um, Extra step buildings work very well in chains. So if I chain 3A into 4B into 10A, let's just say, I am basically going to cover up half of the loop itself thanks to extra steps, and I will be very fast and I will stop just where I really need to stop. Then I'm already good to go to Kansas City, deliver and rinse and repeat, have another great loop. Of course, it's not easy to set up chains, otherwise the game will be boring. Let's say that most of your game will be about setting up a good chain if you're a builder most of the time. It depends a lot, but most of the time setting up a good chain is good. But setting up mini chains is very good for other strategies too. And it delivers. It's very, very, very good. So setting up chains is again something that extra step buildings make it possible, so that you can adjust your loop better thanks to chains. Then they are very good, especially early on, which is the reason because of which 3A is an outstanding building, and it grew up on me the more I was playing the game. It's because it lets you manipulate the other player's ideal route. Let's just say, let's take a look at this setup. There is no hazard down here and no hazard over here. So I don't really expect any toll to be placed over here. But 1, 2, 3, 4, in 4 players, everybody can get here. But let's say that I'm an engineer player and somebody else want to be an engineer, or that this building is going to be very important to secure maybe a first really strong station master tile. I can just place 3A over here so that 1, 2, 3, 4, and then extra step over here. I will be the only one able to go over here right at the start. Mm, it's not as powerful in this setup, but consider if a neutral building A, which is the worker market, which is the most important building at the beginning of the game, along with this building, was over here. Placing 3A over here means that I will be able, right on the first loop probably, means that I will be able to hit neutral building A right at the start of the loop, because again I will take 1, 2, 3 and 4 steps and then I will go there, and nobody else at the table will be able to do that. So you already see why manipulating the other player's route while also improving your own can be incredibly strong. Again, you will get an ideal stop, an even improved one because of the extra action tackled on 3A, which is discard 2 matching cows for 3 coins. But it's very strong because of the extra step. So basically I will be allowed to take an action ASAP while the other players have to wait a bit for it. And the same can be said actually if, let's say, there are so many examples that it's hard to explain them all, but maybe you will stop over here and somebody placed a toll over here. By placing 3A over here, you will be able to go over here straight up from this building, taking 1, 2, 3, well, okay, maybe it's not the best example. Maybe I am here and there's another building here and a toll over here. Then I will be able to still hit this building straight up while the other players are forced to stop over here or on their own buildings. So it's just better at making you faster at hitting some buildings. And this is something that all the extra step buildings do. The one step buildings, which are 3A and 3B, which we are going to talk about this Thursday, are very good at is just manipulating your route in um, it doesn't seem like it's a strong thing what you're doing, but it can actually very much be game changing. So that's why extra step buildings are so strong. Another thing extra steps building are strong at is being built on hazard spots. Because again, if you consider an extra step building basically just tackling an action on the neutral building after it, or on the building after it, um, being able to do that on a hazard spots, let's just take a look at what we're doing here. So if we place 3A over here, that's basically saying again, I'm going to go to the cow market, discard a black cow for 2 coins and discard 2 matching cows for 3 coins. If I place it over here, it's basically saying all what I've just said, plus discard any cow from your hand for 1 certificate. Now, 3A is not the strongest building to be placed on hazard spots, because there's already the requirement of discarding 2 matching cows for 3 coins. So it's not always easy to have 2 matching cows, a cow of the color required by the neutral building, and discarding a cow to get a certificate, or even more complicated, discard a jersey to get a certificate and 2 coins. So it's not ideal to place 3A over here. But it's alright, because sometimes you might have the 2 matching cows, sometimes you don't have the matching cows, but you still have the extra jersey that you can throw around to get a certificates and 2 coins. So it's still good even if you're not using its own action actually. But other 3-step buildings are better on the hazard spots. And finally, I've already said why neutral building F is a bit better at the start of the game than neutral building D, even though you might get more coins out of neutral building D. Like in this example, I'm going to get 5 coins on the first loop thanks to neutral building D, while I would be getting only 4 thanks to neutral building F. But neutral building F will help you sculpt your hand. So you can throw away the jerseys that are not doing anything there and make the rest of your look better. Well, that's the same thing that 3A does, which is why I've fallen in love more and more with 3A as time passed by, especially when 4B is not in a game, and we're going to talk about 4B at length later on in another video. But 3A is already very good at helping you have a better hand by the time you reach Kansas City. It works very good for Cowboys when 4B is not in the game. It works very good for engineers once they've purchased all their heads, because engineers are pretty good at cycling jerseys away in the first half of the game, but they need some help in the second part of the game most of the time. So they need some building on a hazard spots or 3A. 3A is very good at that. So there's that. It's probably a bit better again when 4B is not in the game, because 4B already does a decent job at cycling for everybody and an amazing job for Cowboys. So that's why it can be a bit better. One last very important thing about 3A is that you should never ever place it on the spots just before Kansas City. Remember that you're going to discard the cows, but you're not going to refill your hand until the very end of your turn. So if you place 3A here and take a step, you will just have to go through all the Kansas City steps with just probably 2 cows in your hand, or maybe 3 if you upgraded your hand. And that's not good, of course. So it's better to place it before Kansas City in another position, discard 2 cows, get a better hand, and then go to Kansas City. It actually works very well at the beginning of the loop, in my opinion, just because you're cycling cows away, jerseys away, so that you will have black and white and green cows to discard on the most important buildings. But mainly, there are a lot of factors that play into placing 3A somewhere. Among them, there's the neutral building you're going to hit. Of course, 3A is not good before neutral building F because you're going to discard your whole hand if you have two couple of matching cows, which is not common for sure. So you have to think about the neutral building you're hitting, the extra step that it gives so that it makes your loop better and the loops of your opponents worse. Maybe building it on a hazard spot, considering how many jerseys you're going to have on the next loop is also pretty important when you're building 3A first. And remember that you can also upgrade it later on. So you can just use it once or twice and it's already very good, and then upgrade it later on to something greater. So 3A is, after all, a very good package. Every part of it is very strong, the extra step being the strongest thing, but also the cycling part, discarding and matching two matching cows to get 3 coins is also very important. So build 3A often, try to use it often if it makes sense, and become better at using it because it's going to make you a better player of Great Monster Trail overall. Alright, that's it. See you next time, and Mario's out. Bye bye.